What's up, guys? Welcome back to Newswave. Well, yesterday was certainly an eventful day with Nintendo having their entire direct presentation, and they had some surprises in there. One surprise was very exciting because it was a shadow drop that no one saw coming, and the other surprise caused a lot of controversy around pricing for Nintendo games into the future. We'll go over all of that here today. And also, we are going to be talking about Microsoft and the Activision Blizzard deal, as once again, they're getting quite a bit of pushback with some suggestions from the CMA that make the entire thing seem not worth it at all. Guys, if you enjoy these videos, make sure you hit that like button. Helps out a ton. And if you're new here to the Spawnwave channel, make sure you subscribe down below. And we're going to start today with Xbox Game Pass games for the month of February, as we have some new ones heading into the service, which we'll head over to news.xbox.com. Starting at the top, we have Madden NFL 23. That is available today. This going through EA Play, console and PC. Then also we have SD Gundam Battle Alliance. That's cloud, console, and PC. I think that's a really cool title to throw in there because it's certainly one that's been overlooked just in general. And a lot of times Game Pass will just get more and more people taking a look at games that otherwise would have just kind of faded into the background there. Moving up to February 14th, we have Mountain Blade 2 Bannerlord, cloud, console, and PC. February 15th has City Skylines Remastered, cloud, and Xbox Series X and S. February 16th, we have Shadow Warrior 3 Definitive Edition. This is kind of a newer release of Shadow Warrior 3 that takes advantage of the Xbox Series system, and Shadow Warrior is always kind of a fun action game that you don't take seriously, so definitely worth checking out. But the one that I am really, really interested in and excited to check out is Atomic Heart. That's cloud, console, and PC on February 21st. Some serious BioShock vibes coming out of this one. And I also want to remind everyone that Wild Hearts will have that EA Play early access trial starting on February 13th. So quite a bit of stuff to look forward to here in February for Game Pass. Also, now that we are heading into the 7th year of the Switch, there have been some questions as to how Nintendo will continue the momentum of the system without any kind of revision or any of that. Well, the price cut idea has come up many, many times, but it appears the president of Nintendo, Mr. Furukawa, has other plans, where he says, regarding the Nintendo Switch pricing strategy, we have done our best to maintain both its value and price of hardware and software in our long-term business strategy. We do not believe that any changes to this policy are necessary at this stage. According to the transcription and translation from VGC, the thing that Nintendo is mostly focused on for selling the Switch is software, games, which, yeah, that's generally what will sell a game console. However, you also have to remember we are going into the 7th year of the system. Many people have this device, so you would be looking for people to either replace one because it's broken or just upgrade to the Switch OLED, I guess. I still think Nintendo could introduce a new revision, that being like a Switch Lite OLED. Otherwise, though, I think they are full speed ahead right now towards next gen, and that might be as soon as, I think, in 2024. We'll see. Oh, and it does appear that Sony is planning for a massive holiday season in 2023 for the PlayStation 5. Over on Insider Gaming, you can see their sources say Sony anticipates 10 million plus PlayStation 5 systems to be sold in Q3 fiscal year 23. That would be the months of October, November, and December, right in there with the holiday time period. And that typically is the biggest quarter for all these different companies. They all plan on shipping the most and selling the most then, but moving 10.5 million systems, that's pretty serious for the PS5. Now, you can look at it and say Spider-Man 2, that's going to be a big-time seller and will work to move PlayStation 5 consoles since it is an exclusive for that console. It won't be cross-gen. You also have titles from third parties. Obviously, Final Fantasy 16, while it will be months old at that point, it'll still be a hot title for the holiday season. So it does look like Sony's going all out. There's also that rumor of there being that singular PlayStation 5 SKU with a detachable disk drive. So it seems like Sony has some big plans for this holiday season, and something tells me they'll also have some big time announcements coming up here pretty soon. And guys, with some of the quick news out of the way, let's get into the bigger stuff. Let's start right away with Nintendo's Direct that aired yesterday, about 40 minutes. And for the most part, they were working to fill out the first 6 to 7 months of this year, with the big title they want to showcase being The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, which we have quite a bit of stuff to go over with that one, even outside of just the game itself. But we'll start from the top here with the Direct and just kind of go through the different titles that were announced here, starting with Pikmin 4. They gave us the release date. It's around when I was expecting that summertime release, that being July 21st. So not too much longer for Pikmin fans there. I'm not the biggest Pikmin fan, but from what they showed, it looked like Pikmin to me. They had a little dog companion. They had several different colored Pikmin, as you would expect, as well as they had an ice Pikmin. So seems like there was a lot going on there for Pikmin fans. Then we had some DLC shown for Xenoblade Chronicles 3, right? We have a Wave 3 DLC. That's February 15th. New heroes all around. And then we also have the 4th volume being teased there. Samba de Amigo. This is a game that I remember from the Dreamcast. I didn't necessarily play it there. I think it was also on the Wii. But this is Party Central, and it is essentially a dancing game where you move around with the different Joy-Cons to the beat. It looks like it could be a fun party game there. And obviously, the nostalgia factor playing into it from the old days for this. I'm sure there will be plenty of people checking this one out here. Then they showed off Fashion Dreamer. It's coming 2023. Dead Cells, Return to Castlevania DLC. We had already seen this one previously, but it is coming out March 6, 2023. And then we had Tron Identity. That's April 2023. Ghost Trick Phantom Detective. This was a game from the DS. It was a very quirky and unique title. I think it also went to iOS as well, but we had seen a trademark that was filed for this, so we speculated on if this could be something heading to the Switch. It is indeed happening, summer 2023. And then Level 5 showed up with Deca Police. This is a new IP that they describe as a crime suspense RPG. It's a very unique looking game, and the art style, the visuals, very appealing stuff. And I'm going to keep an eye on this one because Level 5, they've kind of been struggling a bit recently, so it was good to see them show up with this, and as well as a few other titles which we'll go over here soon. But Deca Police, something to keep an eye on there. Bayonetta Origins was shown once again. That's, of course, coming out March 17th. Splatoon 3, it's an expansion pass. There's 2 waves of content. The first wave is Inkopolis from the previous Splatoon game, spring 2023. And then they showed off this weird trailer for Side Order. Maybe that's new single player DLC. I'm not sure. They didn't really elaborate on it. So we'll have to keep an eye out for that second part of the expansion pass there. Disney Illusion Island. We had already had this previously announced. They just showed it off once again with that July 28th release date. It's the side-scrolling 4-player Mickey Disney game. Fire Emblem Engage. There's an expansion pass that they've gone over here. New emblems like guest characters. There's a Fell Xenologue, new story content, Wave 4. Wave 2 is available now. Then we had Harmony, the Fall Revere. That's June 2023. Octopath Traveler 2, coming up pretty soon, but a demo is available right now. We love Katamari Reroll. June 2nd. Pretty cool to see another Katamari game make its way to the Switch. Sea of Stars, a game that I have been keeping a close eye on, August 29th, but a demo's out right now. So I'm checking that demo out as soon as I can. Omega Strikers, free-to-play, top-down, air hockey soccer game is what I wrote here in my notes. April 27th, it's free-to-play, but pre-orders are available now for some reason. So there you go. Etrian Odyssey Origins Collection, that's the first 3 games remastered in HD, June 1st, 2023, but you can buy each game separately as well, so you won't be locked into all 3. Maybe you just want to try one of them out to see what you think. There you go. Advance Wars 1 and 2 Reboot Camp has reemerged here, April 21st, 2023, completing that 1-year delay. But hey, I'm excited for Advance Wars. Not too much longer on this one. Kirby Return to Dreamland Deluxe. There is that new epilogue content that leaked out previously with the back of the box art getting out there online. It's new epilogue content, and a demo is out right now. A lot of stuff shadow dropping all at once during this direct. Of course, that coming out February 24th, so a couple of weeks from now. And then, ladies and gentlemen, things got serious, all right? We immediately went to Nintendo Switch Online. Game Boy and Game Boy Advanced. Available today. They went over some of the different titles: Tetris, Mario Land 2, Link's Awakening DX, Gargoyle's Quest, pretty cool edition there, Game & Watch Gallery 3, Alone in the Dark, Metroid 2, Wario Land 3, Kirby Dream Land. These will be available for the $20 a year tier. Moving up to the expansion pack, you will have access to Game Boy Advanced as well with Minish Cap, Mario Advance 4, WarioWare, Kura, Mario Kart Super Circuit, Mario & Luigi Superstar Saga. These will have online play as well as local play, and they showed off some of the games that are upcoming, which included things like Golden Sun, Fire Emblem, and I also noticed the Pokemon trading card game for the original Game Boy. I'm now thinking of that with online play and local play and card pop, and yeah, I'm excited for that one. That's going to be a ton of nostalgia there that I will spend hours and hours checking out. And we all have to recognize something here. This is Nintendo's out to release Mother 3 in the West. They can put it on the Nintendo Switch online service through the Game Boy Advance section on the expansion pack. And look, they'll at least get it over here without having to do a full retail release or any of that. And they can kind of justify it by saying, we want to add more value to our subscription service. So here's Mother 3, and now we're moving on, because Nintendo, they've been a little sketchy, a little iffy with releasing that game officially. And Nintendo wasn't done with the shadow drops just yet, because probably one of the craziest ones they've ever done, Metroid Prime Remaster. It's out now digitally. A physical copy is coming out on the 22nd, so a couple of weeks from now. It is a $40 release, so it's not a full price game. Dual stick controls, great. And then I played some of this. It looks pretty good. I mean, it's obviously a GameCube game, but they've done some work to smooth things out, and I think just in general, in motion, it still holds up. Like, it is still an awesome title to go through. I still think it's one of the best games ever made, so you got to check this one out. Digitally, sure, but honestly, if you can wait for that physical copy, this might be one that gets more of a limited print run overall. But it's been a long time coming, ladies and gentlemen. There it is. Metroid Prime finally coming out for the Switch. And then we had Rain Code, that's coming out June 30th. Baten Kaitos 1 and 2 HD Remaster Summer 2023. Looks like that leak they got out there ended up being correct. So once again, diving into the GameCube library a bit here for some of these games. Fantasy Life I, that's 2023. A new Professor Layton game got teased again, Level 5. Going big here with a couple of these titles. New World of Steam. Nothing else was really shared, just that it's in development. So I'm sure Professor Layton fans out there are really excited about that one. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe Booster Course Pack Wave 4. They just had a new course, Yoshi's Island, and they also added in Birdo as a character here. So, all right, great. Cool to see just more content, I guess, coming to Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, the best-selling game on the Switch. And then we had a sizzle reel with a bunch of different games that have mostly already been announced. And then The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom wrapped things up with another very, very dramatic trailer, of course, leading into that May 12th release. And overall, looking at the Direct, I thought it was pretty good. I'm in like that B to B plus territory right now. And I only say that because early on in the Direct, probably the first 70%, it was all games we already mostly knew about. And it was a lot of downloadable content, ports, that sort of thing. Like when you look around and realize there wasn't any massive brand new game getting announced, sure, it can kind of pull down some of the hype factor. But I think having shadow drops like Metroid Prime Remaster, having more value being added into the NSO library immediately with Game Boy and Game Boy Advance, and of course closing out with a really good trailer for Tears of the Kingdom. As someone who really likes the GameCube library and seeing some of those games come up with Baten Kaitos, yeah, it's hard to not like this Direct, at least at the level, I think, of a B to a B+. But, of course, let me know what you think about it down below. Next up, we are going to stick with The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, because there was some information that got out there online yesterday a bit early as listings went up before the Direct, and that is that The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom would be Nintendo's first $70 game. It went up, it came back down. People thought maybe it was a listing error. I was kind of 50-50 on it, and then it was officially revealed to be correct. We can see this over on the Nintendo storefront for it. It also says, in addition to the standard version, which will be available at a suggested retail price of $69.99, The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom Collector's Edition will release on launch day at a suggested retail price of $129.99. So there is a full collector's edition you can look into. It has an art book, has a steelbook case, a big steel poster, 4 pin badges. There will also be an amiibo for Link from Tears of the Kingdom. But obviously, the question here is, why is this game $70? And that's a very good question. I've seen some people think that, okay, maybe the file size for it pushes it up to a 32 gigabyte cartridge. It's possible. But to me, we've seen 32 gigabyte games go for 60, like The Witcher 3, and that was from a third-party developer. Nintendo knows this is going to sell really, really well in general. We're thinking 20, 25, even 30 million copies being on the table. So it's odd that they would look at that and say, well, we can't afford these cartridges. We're not going to sell a ton of these. It's like, well, you're probably going to go, let's be real here, 60-40 physical to digital. The digital get copies, those are still $70. You're not making carts for those. And I've been saying this for a while, that Nintendo would eventually take a shot at $70. And I got a lot of pushback, although I did say it like a year and a half ago, so I was a little ahead, I guess, of the curve on that one. But I was thinking it might be with Nintendo's next-gen system. I didn't think they were going to do it with the current Switch. I did say that Nintendo is looking around and they're seeing Microsoft and Sony charge $70 now for their games. Is Sony really going to look at Redfall or Starfield and then look at Zelda and be like, oh yeah, those games are definitely worth more than Zelda? No, they look at their intellectual properties as being the most valuable in all of gaming. And I mean, they're technically correct. Mario, there's entire theme parks around that character. Zelda, I mean, it's widely known across gaming now, right? And you see the sales that they do with their iconic franchises. It was only a matter of time. I just thought they would have done it the same way that Sony and Microsoft did it. When they start the next generation, they go, hey, look, it just costs more. We're moving up to 70, and then let the market decide. I do think the discourse around the $70 price tag, that $10 increase, has mostly gone away. I think about a year ago, people just looked around and said, well, things are still selling. The market's kind of accepted that $70 price, and either buy it day one or you wait for a sale, which the thing with Nintendo is they don't put a lot of their games on sales. So that's another tough one. And the other question now becomes, what games are going to be $70 going forward? Will the next big 3D Mario game be $70? Will Metroid Prime 4 be $70? See, that's sort of where we are now. Is this a one-off, or is this something Nintendo is going to continue to trend towards, is having these big-time games just be $70, and then they have this tiered price structure of 40, 50, 60, and 70, because they're using all of those different tiers right now. It's a very strange situation. Maybe someone will be able to get some sort of answer out of Nintendo as to why this one in particular is 70, but let's be real, Nintendo's probably thinking, well, everyone's going to buy it anyway. It's The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. Breath of the Wild, by many, has been played for over 100 hours, and they see it as being way more valuable than the 60 they spent, so let's try 70. They're a business. As I've mentioned before, these are all corporations. They're looking to make as much money as possible. This is just another example of that. In this case, it's Nintendo doing it. And in our last bit of news, let's talk about the ongoing battle between Microsoft and basically all regulators across the world, for the most part, like 90% of them. In this case, though, this is in the UK with the CMA, who has been really a thorn in Microsoft's side for a while, basically since they announced this acquisition. And, there's a new report that they published, mostly a response to Microsoft saying, here are the things you can do for us to accept this deal and allow it to go through. They've cited several different things in competition, but the big one they're really honing in now is cloud gaming, as in Microsoft controlling Activision Blizzard and all of their intellectual properties could give them a significant advantage that would hurt consumers because of lack of competition in the future. Them essentially controlling the cloud when it comes to entertainment and gaming. Well, take a look at the suggestions that were given by the CMA to Microsoft. They said separating and selling off the Call of Duty part of the business, separating the Activision and Blizzard segments, and potentially selling one or both parts off. Now, I want to be very clear and say that the CMA has not officially blocked this deal yet. This is still in the negotiation phase. But Microsoft buying Activision Blizzard only to turn around and have to spin and sell off Call of Duty. One, I don't really know who's going to buy that, because that's most of Activision Blizzard and what makes them that kind of money. So it would cost a lot. So I don't really think anyone out there would necessarily jump at the chance to buy them unless they could figure out how to finance or pull money from all over the place to do it. And two, there's no point in buying Activision Blizzard without Call of Duty. They could probably, I guess, spin off Blizzard and just get Activision. But even then, it doesn't make sense because they're also buying this for the mobile side. So this is odd for the situation that it is the CMA, it is UK, and Bobby Kotick put out a very strange statement that kind of sounded like a threat. You can see this over on VGC, saying Kotick warns UK risks becoming Death Valley if it blocks Microsoft deal. So they're kind of comparing it to Silicon Valley, where in the UK, they're trying to become sort of that. But he's saying, well, if you oppose these deals, big tech's not going to be that interested in really working with you at all in the future. So in that case, could Microsoft just not do business in the UK? Xboxes, games, any of that? I mean, I guess it would just be a very odd situation for the CMA to go that far to where they just won't have Xboxes or Microsoft's business at all. It seems strange to really go that far with it. So I believe Microsoft will come back to the table with their idea of negotiations and what they can sort of give up to make the deal go through, because that seems like the extreme end for the CMA to go that far. But we'll see. I will say this, a lot less confidence across the board now online for this deal to go through, especially with those kinds of negotiations going on. Activision, Blizzard, but not Call of Duty. It's like, well, what's the point then? And before we go to the comment of the day, we're going to take a look at the poll that I posted up yesterday, where I ask, give the Nintendo Direct a grade. Wow, look at this. 39% say A. That might be the first time I've seen a Direct have the leading vote as A. I mean, 39%. 34% say B. Wow. So 73% gave it a B or above. Then we have C at 70%, 17%, 5% for D, 5% for F. No idea how you give that Direct an F with the shadow drops, like the fact that Metroid Prime Remaster is not only a thing, but it's out right now. You can start playing it immediately. I was pretty happy with the Direct overall. Game Boy Advance, really cool. GameCube games coming up to the Switch, awesome. I'm playing Metroid Prime Remaster basically right now. So like it was fine for what it was. My expectations weren't crazy for it either, though. So I'm sitting right at a B currently for what I've seen from it. And we'll finish up with the comment of the day, as you're seeing here. This is from AK saying, F-Zero is legitimately the only thing I'd be excited for. I'd go bananas if they finally give us the port of GX. Okay, so first of all, F-Zero technically was in the Direct. It's one of the Game Boy games that they show for future releases. So there you go, F-Zero sighting. But while I know people were kind of bummed out that there was no F-Zero GX, I'm actually more positive in the sense that we're seeing these GameCube games get remasters, mostly because Nintendo is dealing with the idea of developing for the next gen platform behind the scenes now. So they need, I don't want to say lighter or easier. I mean, I guess they would be easier projects, but projects that don't require the entire start from scratch, build up everything and then release, that can take 3, 4, 5 years. The idea of going back and getting F-Zero GX as a way to almost stopgap that situation, going to the next generation platform, I think is very likely. So I'm still pretty optimistic that there will be an F-Zero GX remaster with online play. Just didn't happen to be at this Direct, but who knows? Maybe they will still have their big summer Direct and they'll talk about it there. And ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it here for Newswave. If you enjoyed this video, guys, hit that like button. If not, hit the dislike. Leave comments down below about everything we talked about here. Today was the Nintendo Direct. What did you think of it? Did you like the shadow drops? Was there anything you were missing from it? Let me know. And then also, what about the Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom? $70. Did this surprise you? And how do you think Nintendo's going to handle their pricing in the future? And then the deal with Microsoft, Activision Blizzard running into yet another roadblock with the CMA. Do you still think this deal will end up going through? Thanks, guys, for watching, and I'll see you next time.